Hello and welcome. Today is Thursday, the 25th day of April 2019. My name is Derek. This is the Money Charts channel. And let's take a look at some cryptocurrencies, mainly that of Bitcoin, all bets, trades of the like within each his own risk and their own reward. For myself, risk reward management is always job number one. And looking further again within the Bitcoin chart, as I presume most people have been watching them going forward. So as I've been expecting, this thing does look like it's on route to the 6,300. It's just one of those slow moves because oftentimes when resistance isn't found, they're fast move to the next level. And well, it sure isn't fast, even if it were to happen in one day or today. As there's a lot of time with this hanging in there with the 18 highs. This session here breaking out, matching previous high, barely piercing above it. But then the down move yesterday to the area of previous resistance, which is the highs of the 18. And that's after becoming support, lifting off within that level. So within the weekly chart, as far as it's concerned, after this move up, just this little bit of sideways shows that it's overextended, but only a little bit. We've had a bit of a correction, and this will stay overextended till it's not. And because there was no resistance here, I'm still looking at that move to come up to 66. It's just usually, I would normally expect if it's going to have a break like this and not resist it, that we'd almost have like a repeat of that candle, which could have happened 2 weeks ago. It didn't, however. As we can see, we're having a slower move towards this point. When we look at this on the single hour term time frame, from the last correctionary move, the 5600 high. This was a really fast play. As at one point, this was just two nice green candles up, and this would have been a full green candle period when it was at that high. So a lot of price action on this one with a low of 54.31, a high of 56.50. That was a differential of about 100 and or 200 rather, 20 basis points. But close to 5%. But from that point on, it grinded its way close to previous high, was unable to meet it, and then a little bit of a price correction. And as I was saying, this was the attempt where it worked to break it out. It didn't do it. And after this red selling, we have support established here, and then it makes a lower low on this 7 a.m. timestamp to here, but barely. And since this low, it is twice after that came back to it, both times being that of matching lows. And what occurred after each low? Well, in here, it came up to the 18 average, and of course, it managed to then after that, come back down to the matching low. Then again, it came up to the 18 average of highs and pulled back. And then in this time, it got above it, came into this level of resistance, supported it. And then after that, this was the big hour just a couple ago, the statement hour at 12 o'clock Eastern time today, as it managed to get above this 18 highs after supporting it on this breakout. And so far, it had a little bit of a further gain on the second good green, the 1300 time stamp. The last hour was a pause hour. And this one has barely extended it, but still in the pause area again, 28 minutes, 41 seconds as I'm doing it. And now that you see this move take place short term, of course, it always does seem to coincide, but previous resistance in the 18 average at about 40, 54.67 area is where I'd be thinking that that would come into play as an area. But this thing is definitely making a statement and having prices continue to move up, and that would be not a surprise. It still has to get above this major level of resistance in here, which it established at this point of 5600. And seeing so happen would most likely increase the probability odds or make it more likely for a fast move, quick green candles up on this time frame, up to, of course, around the mid 6,000 handle. And I'm just going to check Bittrex to see what the biggest losers and gainers are for the day. I guess Ocean's got an initial exchange offering. I'm not looking at the US dollar markets, I'm looking at the Bitcoin markets. So as far as the top losers, we got P Chain down 27%. Bitbean had a big day yesterday, down 25%. Same with OK Cash yesterday. and the 10th or the bottom loser is 6%. So let's just first take a look at P chain. PI looks like the ticker symbol, and see why it's losing so much. And within the daily chart, it's just one of those new ones. It's got interesting volatility. What's this day here? A low 251, a high 387. Not bad. 136 basis points. That works out to about 55%, 60% volatility. And even from this high in here, we've seen it go from 370 down to 173. And then looking at this on the hourly time frame, just even this hour here, it's just when did, just now, or I don't know. This is 15:25, so it happened like 8 minutes ago that somebody just sold it down and then it got back up again. So if you had these buy orders in at like 180, 185, you can look towards getting your profit take right now. Let's take a look now at what some of the best winners are. We got Ptoy in the lead at 24%, and the bottom one 6.6%, so pretty uh, much equal down the line. Let's take a look at its move, but first let's switch this up to the daily chart. Well then, let's just see here. We got this day here, a little 416, 520. Differential, a little over 100. That's 25%. This day here, low 425, high 523. Differential of almost 100 points, 22%. This day here, 390 and 540, which is a differential of 150. So that would work out to about 44%. This day here, a low of 367, a high of 477, differential of 110, which works out to about 30% volatility. Even this day here, and today's is a good one, 359 and 459, that's 100 basis points. So 100 divided by 359 works into about like something around 30. Today's session has a high of 563 and a low of 361, so a differential of about 200 basis points, or about 57%. And even previous days, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm just trying to scroll this over. We had this day in here on January 17th with a low of 411, a high of 588. That's a differential of 177, or about 40 plus percent. This was a nice day here. And this was coming off of a low from 412, but within the intraday session itself, low 463, high 842. And that's almost 400 points. That's like 380-ish or so. That works out to about an 80% move. Days like this when it broke out higher, 507 low, 689 high. That's a 182 point differential. Again, a 30, close to a 40% move. This day here, back on August the 27th last year, a low of 614, a high of 1090, differential of 470 points. That works out to about 70%. This is just a laugh, not whatever kind of day, but it has been pretty consistent. A lot of these moves, and what it should go to show you is that sell orders need to be in place. And what I really want to focus on is since February 21st, because it's just getting, I mean, not for the large moves, but extreme, because we've had one, two, three, even this one for a small level here, but 4, 5, 6, 7 days where we have these lines where the market goes up and back down. And we could even be closing this day back within the 18. It wouldn't surprise me if this closes at around 380. And I'm trying to find two coins to play together. This might be one of them. Just because I managed to successfully get one of my hockey bets right, I'm just going to put that into two coins. But throwing that part aside, the uh, the moves. So yeah, let's just take a look. I want to go with shorter term time frame. So here we can see on the hour how, and you have to be fast. If you're not there this 9 o'clock hour, right, watching it go up to have your orders ready to place, then you either order. That's it. You're not trading. If you have them set ready to go and you're not home, you're not even at the computer, who cares? I mean, you go once a day, 4 or 5 times a day to check, and you see, oh, an order comes in. Let's just take a look at some of the other ones in here that happened before. And even just by looking at how these highs and lows work, you can try to pick away at the order book. It can be pretty difficult nonetheless, but if you get the hang of it, then it can work out pretty good. Now here's that move here going from 388 up to 480, back down. You had a little bit of time where you're able to get the low like 410, 420 area, but again, this move in here was relatively fast. Here we see again this. I mean, this was, I don't even know how fast within the hour this was. So this could have been like a, from here to here, that could have been a 10-minute thing. It could have been a 90-minute event. I don't know, but it was quick. So therefore, on April the 2nd, if you wanted to take advantage of that, orders were what would make it work. And if you were buying at like 420, looking to sell at around 500 or 520, then you'd be able to get your trade in. Here's another spot where it goes from 429 up to this level here, but back down really quickly. Again, up and down fast, up, down fast, as a lot of these rallies are just not able to hold. And this is just the one period spot where someone bought it up and it just came right back down. And a lot of times when stuff like this is going on, not much you can do. But when these things go up, as you can see here, this is 5 o'clock in the morning. It goes up from this 359 level, goes up to 460, and then it just pulls back and does its thing. But if you're not having your sell orders here where you like to sell on this, and you're gonna miss some of these too. You're gonna be like, oh, I had an order in to sell it, say 465 or something, 462, and it went to 459, and that's gonna happen. But you're also going to have 447 hit at times and 458 hit, or you being at the top. I can't count how many times I've seen people in buy and sell, and the order filled at the top or bottom where my order was, meaning I did buy at the bottom or sell at the particular tops. And let's finish this off by looking at SPC, which is Space Chain. And that would be the last coin for the video. Never seen this before, at least not to my knowledge. I probably looked at it once or twice here and there. Well, I guess it's doing the same sort of deal. We have this day. What's its volatility? Low 155, high 268. Differential 113 points. Somewhere around 75-80%. This day here. Low 183, high 224. 41 basis points. That's about 23%. This day here, we have a differential of 105. That works out to about 55%. Just a small day here is a differential of 62 points, which works out to about 40 something percent. And then in this move here, we go from 137 up to better than double. But let's just look at this even more clearly. If you look at this on a day by day level, this day here, it got all the way up to 320 and pulled back down to 161. And overall, its volatility was better than 2x. Because I take that 137 low and I multiply it by 2, I'm going to come up with 274, yet it got to 320. So all the buybacks were easily done that day because you sell up here, buy in here. And then the next day, it goes all the way back up again, so your sell orders could fill again. Now, in this case, you might not have bought back, at least not until later, because maybe you didn't want to buy back when it came back to like 219, even though you sold at, say, 3. But had you done so, there's another possibility to sell there. Now, anything beforehand of great note, even here, like 132 up to 200. Well, let's just see, what was the high? 198. Well, that's satisfactory. This is the rarity in cryptos. This days like this, you can see it's usually the opposite. This is a spot where your buy orders were successful, and you probably need to have them in to get the good prices. The low was 103, and it was trading in a support area of 130. Let's see, another one of these days in here. What was its volatility? 150 to 211. So you're looking at again 40% move. And we'll just finish that off now. So thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye bye.